What's up? I feel like I gotta keep it quiet. I'm out here in the chipmunk. You hear that? Welcome back to another episode of My Thing Tales of Form Gangster. This is your woodland edition. No office, no drive, no street takes. I'm in the woods. So if you can see, this is the river, the trout river I'm fishing. It's an amazing river, amazing fishery. There's some gigantic trout in this river. But I had to stop and make a quick video to address this whole Calandra thing. It's kind of childlike, but I guess I gotta do it. So, Calandria's calling me names, said I want to be a gangster. You know, and I was gonna just kind of let him have it, but I'm not gonna do that. It's below me to to kind of go low brow, low blow. I'm just gonna tell you a couple of facts, quick, simple facts. First of all, I never wanted to be a gangster. I was born into a gangster family. There's no way around that. It is what it is. It's on my birth certificate. I was born in Toko. And so, growing up, that's all I knew. It was like wise guys, mob dudes. My grandpa was Gumbadis. They're all friends. I lived with my grandma and grandpa Toko. My grandfather was the cousin of the boss, Jack Toko, who I wasn't ever close with because he was an old man. He was close with my... wind's blowing. He was close with my grandpa, and he was the boss. It's not somebody you sat there and talk shop with or about. However, some of the higher echelons of the Detroit mob got to know me in my teens and 20s and liked me and put me to work doing certain things. And so I was already a thug. I was already a bad kid. I'd been kicked out of school when I was 15 years old. I was in and out of jail. I was doing it. So, I mean, you call it what you want, all right? I mean, I'm not a self-professed mobster or gangster, nothing like that. However, my family was the Mafia. Not was in it, was the. And that's that. So that's kind of a simple fact. To today, I'm not a gangster. I don't want to be known as a gangster. I want to be known as a writer. That's it. Now, he said, you're not a gangster. Or first he said, you're not a gangster. And then he said, I'm a wannabe gangster. Listen, I don't want to go down in history as a gangster or an ex-gangster or nothing. I'm a world-class novelist. My novels are being called the next Godfather, literally. So if you go and read my reviews, they're all organic and real. People are going nuts when they're saying this guy wrote the next Godfather. That's my legacy. This whole YouTubeosphere, mobosphere means nothing to me. What people need to get, the people are going to watch the show, like a lot of people don't know me that well and maybe watch a video or two and they're kind of like, where'd this guy come from? Who is he? I don't read about the Mafia. I never have. I literally, when I was in prison, somebody had me in Sammy the Bull's book, and I read that and kind of painted him out with this pity party for him. And I was like, this kind of sucks for him. Like he got dicked over. And then somebody handed me the book, The Last Mafioso, years later when I just got out of the hole. Didn't have my property yet. And so, ironically, I actually now am 49% owner of the film rights to The Last Mafioso, about Jimmy the Weasel Fracciano. It's a great book. You can check it out. That's the only books I read on the mob, ever. And that one was interesting because it brought up Detroit and actually talked about how these guys connected to Frank Sinatra and how, like, Jack Toko, the boss, wanted Frank Sinatra to sing at his wedding. Frank Sinatra didn't really know him, so he wasn't going to do it. And Sammy Giancana was like, told him, no, out of respect, you got to go to this guy's wedding. It was a wedding, by the way, my parents were at. So, I mean, my father still talks about it. So, anyways, I'm not into reading Mafia stats and things like that. It's not my thing. For everybody who is into that, God bless you. That's cool. You have an interest in it. Most of the people they've never lived that life, never experienced it. They never did freaking decades in prison like me. They never beat people for money. They never extorted people. They never shot people. I mean, you look at the scars on me, man. I got a scar. I got more stab wounds and bullet wounds in me than. I gotta freaking brag about it. I'm just saying, it is what it is. So I think I've proven my gangster, although I don't want to be known as that guy no more. Jimmy Calandra, I was, here's the thing. The truth is about this guy, is when I saw or somebody mentioned he's doing a little YouTube show. I watched it. It's like, his videos, phones flipped the wrong way. I don't know. He probably didn't know what he's doing. No big deal. I listened to like one of his shows, and I'm like, he's pretty good at telling the story. God bless him, man. It seems pretty interesting. I don't know anything about the Bath Avenue Boys. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about John Alite. I've heard his name a lot of times. Heard a lot of people say he's full of crap. But I mean, people say I'm full of crap. So that's the thing. So how do I know? I don't know. It's fact. And I'm not going to open a book and read about him. I'm not going to go on the website or the internet and start searching Eli or anyone. Nobody. You see what I'm doing right now? If I have an extra 5 minutes in my life, I'm either going fishing or I might watch a hunting or fishing video. I don't care about mob stuff. Never impressed me. Even when I was involved with the Mafia, which was my family, really. It wasn't even like I was in the mob. It's just my uncles, you know. I didn't care about them either, frankly. And then I've said that many times in my videos. Those guys didn't impress me because why would they? These guys are the top bosses in Detroit. The same way a lot of you New York guys would see somebody like John Gotti or something. He was at my house having dinner with us all the time, the boss. Some of these other guys, like, you know, famous underbosses and things like that, Gas Pipe Casso, and those guys were at my house all the time since I was in pajamas. They would give me, you know, $20 bills, you know, when I was a little tiny kid. You know, they taught me how to play poker, you know, when I was 6 years old. Tony Jack's daughter married my cousin, and so that kind of merged our families, and that's how I got to know him. And so he was always privy to all the BS I was into, which was constant drama. I was fighting, I was smashing up clubs and businesses and trying to extort freaking businesses and all this crap. I'm kicking up dust all over the freaking place. And everybody's pissed off at me. A lot of the wise guys that were pissed off at me. And so Tony Jack thought it was funny. He thought it was funny. He's a freaking guy, Alonzo. He's out of, you know, he's out of control. But he heard all these stories from my grandparents. He'd come over for, you know, coffee and a regatta cookie, and they'd sit down, and he's like, how's Alonzo doing? They'd tell him, you know, he's freaking in trouble again. He went to jail. He did this. He did that. And before you know it, he's, you know, pulls me aside and says, hey, you want to make a buck? I'm like, well, what do you mean? And this is actually before that. In fact, I just did a show about Tony Jack, about how I got involved with him. So I'm not going to talk about it. I recorded it. I've been on the fence whether or not I'm going to for sure release it. I'm a little nervous about it because simply I have family, cousins and stuff that are still involved. They're the grandsons and, you know, sons of these people, and I don't, you know, it's like, I don't know if I should be putting them out there, so I'm a little on the fence. But the moral of the story is Tony asked me to freaking hurt a guy, and I did, and that was it. You know, his Gumar had an issue with her ex. He was there, passed out drunk. I went over there and demolished the freaking guy. And she called him and was like, yo, whoever that was, he freaking, you know, handled his business. And from that day on, Tony was like, yeah, you want to go do this for me? Go make a buck, pick up this money, chase this money, get this guy, find this guy, do that, blah, blah, work security at a poker game or casino night, or blah, blah, blah. So I was pulled into that life, in that world when I was about 19. My grandfather's eyes went bad. I started driving him around because he was dangerous with the car. He was going to kill somebody. So I said, listen, let me drive you. When you got to go see your Gumbadi, just let me drive. And so he was a big layoff bookie, you know, and he's friends with all the big shot bookies in the city. And so he'd drive around, pick up money. He just wanted to get out of the house and go see his Gumbadi. So we'd pop in from headquarters to headquarters, you know, down to the Eastern Market, over to the West Side, and all these guys, these I'm talking high-level mob dudes, like the highest level in Detroit. That's what a lot of people don't realize is at the level Detroit is. Just to make this perfectly clear, the FBI believe that one crew alone is making $100 million a year just off their sports books. And this is a crew, one crew. It's totally maybe 30 guys. You know, there's, you know, a couple of capos and, you know, a couple of made guys and then, you know, soldiers and yada, yada, yada. But they control everything. The nightclub racket, the strip clubs, the you know, escort service, weed. I won't say other drugs, they're involved in that, but weed is their primary weed drug, and they move it by the ton. They control politicians, you know, city officials, government officials, lawyers and judges and prosecutors, cops, feds, state cops, all in the pocket. And I know this is a fact. I mean, well, when I was around, I don't know what's going on now, but the way the family has always worked is that they groomed these guys for years. They may even pay for a guy to go to school and say, when you go to school and you get out, you know what I'm saying, get your job working for these, you know, for this government, you know, acronym. And then when you're in there, you know what I'm saying, you know, let us know if anybody's, you know, whispering about us or talking about us or whatever. So there's some guy, they paid for him to go to, you know, college, and 10 years later, he's working in the FBI, feeding information. How do you think Jack Toko got away with being convicted of RICO for running the Detroit Mafia for 39 years? Was convicted of that and only got a year in prison. And then the prosecutors were in such an outrage because of that, they appealed the sentence, brought him back to the other judge, and the judge gave him another 9 months. The judge was bought. We all know that. Everybody knows that. It's kind of like one of those things, like, what can you do? The judge did what he did. You know, it's double jeopardy. You can't bring him back, keep around back. Moral of the story is, these are really powerful, high-level mob dudes, and they control a lot of shit, is all I'm saying. And I was around them. What was I working for all of them? No. Did I know them? Yes, of course. They were my grandpa's like best friends. They called the house every day. I lived with my grandparents for like 10 years of my juvenile life, meaning like 10 years of my life as a child before I was an adult. And even when I was adult, I lived up until I was like 20. These guys were around. They come over to the house and they say what's up, and they start speaking in Italian. They go in the back room. They've got 4 phones going. They're talking, you know, it's all sports thing. And I didn't even barely pay attention. It wasn't even like, who cares? It wasn't meant nothing to me because I wasn't impressed by a bunch of fat old men. I didn't go, ooh, they're in the mafia. Dude, listen. Listen, when I was 5 years old, I couldn't go to a party because some girl, I said, why did you invite me to the party? And she says, my mom says you're in the mafia. I didn't even know what the frick the mafia was. Same thing happened another day. Kid can't play with me. Why can't you play with me? My mom says you're in the mafia. So I started asking my uncle, who's my Uncle Pete, who ended up being kind of my skipper down the road. He's only 12 years older than me, so, you know, kind of is my cicerone or guide into that world. And he says, yeah, I said, well, what is the mafia? I was probably 10, 12. He's like, yeah, it's just our family. It's just their family. And then, you know, then I see movies about, you know, The Godfather, and I watch that, and I correlate it, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And I'm noticing how everybody treats my family. When I go to the Eastern Market, which is Detroit's Little Italy, where there's, you know, thousands of freaking Italians, and everybody's Italian, and all these headquarters and businesses, and everybody sees my grandpa and my uncles, and they're like, hey, Pete, how you doing, somebody? Ah, shake his hand, cousin. Hey, come on in, let me give you something. And he goes to buy something, maybe he wants to go get some meat or whatever. He goes to buy it, and they're like, no, Pete, no, tell Gracie I said hi, this is for her, you know. And he did the same thing to his gumbadis, and they come to his business. He had a produce business, a big one. So the moral of the story is I noticed this stuff, and I was around it, and I was aware of it, but none of it really impressed me. I didn't think, and the main reason it didn't impress me was because my Uncle Pete, again, my cicerone of La Cosa Nostra, if you want to say, he told me, he's like, Alonzo, you know, you can't never be nothing in this family other than just like a soldier in the street because you're half breed, man. You got the wrong last name. He's like, you know, you could maybe change your name to Toko, my mother's name. You know, he's like, and maybe you go to the boss and maybe somebody freaking goes on record for you and maybe they consider it. And my Uncle Sal said, listen, my Uncle Sal was in part of this conversation, Salvatore Tocco. And he's like, listen, you don't want to do that. Forget that. If you do that, you're a mark. You become a mark for the feds, you mark for the cops, you mark for then plus on top of it, now you got to do what they say. You owe them. Basically, if they say jump, you got to jump. You can't say no. He's like, now you can do whatever you want, you know, and they can't force you to do it. You're really just freaking, you know, as an associate or whatever. They're still family, but I got orders to do stuff all the time. There was times I got ordered to kill someone. They tried to order me to kill someone. I said, I'm not doing it. I said, I don't give a frick. What are you going to kill? And one time my Uncle Pete says, what if I tell, you know, Uncle Jack that you said no? I said, what are you going to do? He's going to kill me because I wouldn't kill some dude I don't know? His own family's going to kill me because I said, I'm not killing this freaking dude. I know the guy. I'm not doing it. I ended up killing him, but I didn't have nothing to do with it. So anyways, my whole reason for this diatribe is that I was never like a wannabe anything, man. I never aspired to be in the mob. I was just kind of born in and around it. And because I was a bad kid, troubled kid, my parents divorced when I was 4 years old, and I was just, and my dad was an alcoholic, my mom was mentally ill. I was just a rough kid, man. All I did was fight and wild out and got right in, you know, and I was lazy too. When I was young, all I wanted to do is like, you know, the lazy route, you know, sell drugs, rob, steal, whatever I could, you know, stolen merch, but, you know, mostly sell drugs. I sold weed and steroids, and I just was a lazy kid. I became a bouncer at, you know, 18, 19 years old. I became started bouncing and working security at, like, poker nights and dice games and poker games. And just like that. It's easy route, man. It's easy money. I didn't want to get a freaking real job because I was a loser. That's as simple as that. I was a lazy bum. And so, just to clarify that, Jimmy Calandra, I want to be a gangster. I never wanted to be a gangster. I was just me, being me. And here's for the record, when I did get pinched, when I was 29 years old, I got charged with 17 capital crimes, including extortion, armed robbery, bank robbery, on and on and on. I got put in a freaking room with the FBI who came in not even an hour freaking after my arrest. And he said, you know, you want to make this all go away? And I said, how? He's like, you know how? I said, you got the wrong guy. He gave me his card. I flipped it back at him. I said, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. And I knew. So my story was, if you listen to my show about cooperators, I was like, in my mind, I'm going to go to prison. If they give me 30 years or something like that, I'm just going to kill myself in prison. I'll slit my wrists and go out with honor. Or I'll get some dope in prison, I'll go out with honor. But I'm not freaking flipping because I'm not dishonoring my grandfather and my family. And that's the difference between you guys and my family. This was my uncles. These are the men I grew up with. Man, they were blood relatives and they were family. And I could never possibly think about looking my grandfather in the eye, an old man, you know, who's a man of honor, and say, hey, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna come visit me in prison after I flipped? Or maybe if I didn't go to prison because it flipped and caused these guys, first of all, I'd be dead. And I'd have to go into witness protection and I'd have to run for my life for the rest of my life and end up some weird Joe in freaking Utah or something. I'm not doing that. Second of all, my grandfather, how's he gonna go around his goombadies, look him in the eye and say, you know, my grandson's the one who freaking got you guys locked up or indicted. I couldn't do it. I refused to do it. So I was resigned to the fact that I'll kill myself. Now, that's the difference between me and most of these freaking guys who flip the second. They're like, hey, you're going to do 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. They're just like, I'll tell. Give me, where do I sign? I know everything. So that's that. Now, who's the real G? I'm just saying. The other thing is, man, with Jimmy Calandra, I was a gentleman with the guy. I said, but when he started his little channel, I said, hey, man, would you like to come on a show, tell my story? And he was a gentleman back. He says, yeah, no thanks, man. He literally said this, and I got it, and I could post you the quote of it. He says, I believe you're as real as they come. He's like, but some of these guys on your show, and he just left it at that, which I understood. He could have been talking about Panizzi, Calandra, you know, Shellac Kid, Larry, I don't know. And I said, hey, man, listen, I'm just here to entertain people with their stories. I'm not judging. I don't care. You know, everybody has their reasons. And then at the same time, he's a dude who flipped himself. So why is he judging? But I'm just like, listen, man, I do this just for people to entertain people. My show is there to bring awareness to my novels. I'm not a mob historian or mob groupie or mob wannabe. I really don't care about the mob. I never read books. I never watch documentaries. I've never even watched the frickin' Sopranos. I watched like 2 episodes. I'm like, this stuff is so cheesy, man. I can't do it, man. It's just so cheesy to me, you know, because so much of it was Hollywood and bullshit. And which is fine. It's a good entertainment for everybody who likes that type of thing. Yeah, watch it. It's great, man. It's entertainment. But compared to the real life, the real world, and how it is, that's bullshit. It's cheesy as hell. And every freaking real wise guy I know I've ever met says the same thing. Larry's never freaking watched it. Everybody's like, the cheesy ass bullshit, man. Half these freaking shows like Gravesend and all these things. It's a joke, man. You can't even watch them, man. It's a joke. And I'm just not into it. It's not my thing. You know what's my thing? Trout fishing. Deer hunting with a bow. I'm a bow hunter. You know, I get up close and personal and kill that mother effer from 10 yards away. I want to hear him breathing when I put an arrow through it, and then I gut his ass. I said, that's what I do. I said, and I fish and I hunt, and that's the life. That's my real life and my real passion. I don't read about mob stories. I don't read about all these freaking guys. They come on my show, Shellac Kid. He's like, you know this guy? And I'm like, nah. And one guy's like, oh, you ain't no real mob. How would you not know Frankie DeChico or whoever? I'm like, because I don't care. I don't read about the Mafia, especially New York. Only thing I know about New York is that my uncle used to call it the Rat Pack. That's it. That's all I know. And to me, I was like, whoa, you know, that's what he called them. And we didn't have rats like that in New York, in Detroit. And so I had no interest in reading about that. And why would I have an interest in that? Even with my own family, I had no interest. When I was in prison, a guy came and gave me a book called Motor City Mafia. I heard about it, but I never seen it. And he said, listen, hey, I bought this off the yard, man. It's about your family, bro. I paid $8 for it, man. Just give me the $8 and you can have it. And I'm like, dude, I'm not paying you $8 for that stupid book. I don't even want that book. And he's like, what? Give me $8. I'm like, he was my bunkie, and I felt bad. He was trying hard. I said, $8 in prison's a lot of money. So I'm like, look here, man. Here's $5. I gave him $5. I flipped through it, saw a bunch of faces and names that I recognized. That's it. Didn't even barely look at it. It felt sacrilegious. It felt like my hands were going to burst into fire. All right. And I just never looked at it. And then years go by, and I never really talked about, you know, my life and my family in prison. It wasn't one of those things because very few guys in there can relate to it. They don't understand that life. They don't understand Costa Nostra. They don't know. What's the point of telling? I'm not going to brag about it. I'm not like these guys in New York and stuff who are in the day room going, yeah, I'm with someone so-and-so. That time was so-and-so. We were someone. I'm with so-and-so. And I did this with so-and-so. And he's with that. And you know who he is. He's with that guy and this guy. That ain't how it works in Detroit, because if you do that, you get a bullet in the head. And I've seen it. Maybe I'll tell that story at the end of this, how I know a guy who was running around doing the same freaking thing. He was a guy a lot like Calandra. He was a guy who wanted to be down in the mob real bad. He hung around some kids, and they were just bad kids, thugs. He just wanted to be down so bad. He didn't get a tattoo, but he just wanted to be down with the mob. And because I was connected to him, the mob, and because my uncle was connected to the mob, he just gravitated towards us. Well, he was a pretty big weed dealer, right? And we were feeling him out, whether we're going to use him as a plug or just rob him, you know, or extort him. My plan was to pretty much extort him, just to say, listen, you're moving X amount, you got to pay us every week. That's what I normally did. But I was on the fence because I kind of liked him a little bit. But he just wouldn't shut up about the mob. He was like a fanboy. He was one of these freaking guys. I want to be with the mob. I want to be down with the mob. Are you with Tony? Who's this? Where you at? You with Pete today? With Tony today? I'm like, shut up. He got around in his mouth, and it got back to my Uncle Pete. And it just got back that he was running his mouth too much, and he had to go. So they wanted me to kill him, and that's one of the guys they wanted me to kill. It's happened a couple times. I said, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So they ended up getting some bikers to kill him, and they killed him. And then after they shot him in the head, I had to identify the body in a garage. They sent me to go make sure it was him. And I didn't want to do that either, but my uncle said, you got to do it, man. You know who he is. You know, and make sure you got the right guy. And I went to this abandoned house in Detroit, and he was in the garage. He had 2 bullet holes in his head, blowing half his head off. And I asked him, well, why did they freaking blow his head off like that? It looked like they shot him 3-4 times. He's like, no, the first one didn't do it, so they'd run a couple more through him or whatever. And they started calling him, anybody who talked too much, or like they wanted to be down and talk too much, they started calling him, don't let him end up like Bullethead. That was a joke, an ongoing joke for years. This freaking guy, he talks too much. He's going to end up like Bullethead. And so I learned to shut the F up. You don't talk about stuff outside of the family with anyone outside of anything. It's just between you and your crew or the family. If they tell me something within my little 5-man crew, 10-man crew, whatever it is, nobody outside of that is ever going to know. Unless it's like Tony Jack or one of the bosses come to me. And only Tony Jack would ever get me to talk about anything, because I knew he was the boss of the street. Tony Jack was the boss of the street. He was really the face of the Detroit mob. He was the freaking G of the street. He was the Greg Scarpa of Detroit, but without the wire. They think he was responsible for up to 60 murders. 60. And he liked me. I didn't look at him like he was this cold killer. He was just kind of an old uncle figure to me, but I knew he was cold. You could see it in his eyes, and when he got mad, you could tell he was serious. If he said, man, I'm going to having to freaking kill this guy or hurt this guy or whatever, it was serious. And that's the guy who asked me to hurt people, and he kind of got off on it. He wanted details. When I go beat a guy up for him, smash a guy, tell me what you did. One time I beat up a guy so bad, he came to me and he said, why'd you beat him so bad? The guy's in the freaking hospital. I said, well, he disrespected me and you. I told him, he laughs and he says this. He says, Alonzo, I send you to collect $1. You come back with $100. Because I did rob the guy too after I beat him up. Moral of the story is, what I'm getting at is, I know guys, and I like a lot of guys who are kind of wannabe down type of guys, right? That's fine. God bless them. I care less. That wasn't me. I didn't care. I was in it for the money, because I knew I couldn't be nothing. They told me you're never going to be a made guy. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I have no problem. I'll just get my hustle on and get my money. And kind of, I didn't throw my weight around as far as the family name, nothing like that, unless it worked to my advantage during a shakedown or something like that. And that was usually set up by the family. Somebody would send me and say, hey, listen, tell them you're with so-and-so and they got to pay this or whatever, or they owe or whatever. But other than that, I wasn't running around going, yo, I'm a Toko, you better pay me, I'll kill you. That's a freaking joke. That's what wannabes do. It wasn't me, right? If I wanted to shake a guy down, I didn't have to say that I was a Toko. I just knocked their freaking teeth out, man. Put a pistol in their mouth and say, you're gonna pay, or I'm gonna kill you next time I see you. That's the thing. They knew I was serious. Most of these guys I did it to, they knew who I was. They knew my reputation. So if I freaking walked into your house and punched you in the freaking mouth, knocked you out, and you woke up with a pistol in your mouth, and I said, next time, have my freaking money, or I'm going to blow your head off and you can run, but you can't hide. I'll find your ass. They knew I wasn't playing. I wasn't the kind of just like, false threatened mother effer. Now, that's just who I was. It's a terrible person. I was horrible. I don't like to talk about stuff like that. I don't like to even bring it up. I'm ashamed of it. I don't like my wife to hear stuff like that. But it is what it is. But anyways, what I'm getting at, I guess, in terms of Jimmy, is that he called me Goofy Gunner. I'm like, I'm not going to smash this guy, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say he sounds like a punch drunk, freaking whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. Let him tell his little stories, Bath stories. He's got some fans. Let him listen. Some of the stories are pretty good. He does all right delivering them, man. He needs to turn his phone the right way. But, other than that, I'm not going to call him freaking names. I'm not going to attack his character. I don't know nothing about the dude, nothing, or care. So, never even heard of Bath Avenue, And even when I lived in New York, I might have heard the name, but I don't know what the frick, nothing about Bath Ave boys. And I don't read Mafia books, and I don't watch documentaries, and none of it. None of it means nothing to me. That's a misnomer. People think because I have a channel that kind of has a mafia theme to it, that I'm like some kind of mafia expert. Let me assure you, everybody, that I am not a mafia expert. Only thing I'm an expert on is the experiences of my life. Things that I did and the things I did with other people. Outside of that, I literally never cared, and still don't. I didn't, and like I said, I don't buy books, read books, I don't watch documentaries, I don't watch shows. And the people who do, God bless you, and enjoy it. I'll be happy to bring guys on my show and to talk about it. I don't care if they flipped or not. I'm not judging none of that stuff. I'm just saying that me personally never cared. So when it came to Jimmy, I don't care about his story. I never heard his story. I just said, hey, if you want to come on my show and tell your story, cool. And he's like politely declined. He said, no, you're as real as they come, I believe, but I respectfully declined. I said, cool, let's open door anytime you want to come on. But then here's this guy. He suddenly goes on a publicity tour and starts like trashing everybody. And I don't care about Alite, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know Alite, you know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about John Alite. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say he's full of shit, blah, blah, blah. But he's also killed some guys and beat some guys, whatever. So maybe the truth is in the middle. I don't know. I'm assuming he, was a pretty tough guy in the street and did some stuff. Is he inflating numbers? I don't know, and I don't care. Larry, I can assure you, isn't. And so I know Larry for 4 years. He's a close personal friend. We did BookCon together at the Javits in New York City. He's been a gentleman and a friend ever since. We've known each other very well. He's even done me favors, loaned me money when the Italian festival, and I needed thousands of dollars worth of inventory for the Italian festival in Detroit, where, by the way, the whole family shows up, and I needed books, hundreds of books and thousands of dollars in inventory for the Apparel. And I said, man, I'm short, man. Larry sent the money just like that. Boom. And I send it right back the next day when I was done. I made several $1,000s over the weekend, and boom, boom, boom. He did it for me twice. So he's proven his loyalty and friendship to me. And I've spoken to him in length about a lot of stuff, including like his conversations with Robert De Niro when he was counseling him on the movie The Irishman and all this stuff. Always forthright and honest. I just don't see him lying. He's not that kind of guy. He's not a lying type of dude. He's he's not gonna embellish kind of dude. There's a reason Greg Scarpa recruited him. Because he was a smart guy, he had the potential to be an earner, and he had the potential to put in work, all right? There's a reason why these Bath Ave kids never got recruited. You see what I'm saying? They were trying too hard to be down. They wanted to be like, they were fanboys, I guess, and they just wanted to be, I want to be in the Mafia so bad. I'm going to tattoo on my leg. Please let me in the Mafia. I'll kill somebody. I swear I'll do it. Give me the gun. I'll kill it. I'll go kill him. And then, half of them turn out to be junkies, and the other ones end up in prison or dead. So it is what it is. But, Larry wasn't that guy. So Larry was a guy who was picked for a reason, groomed by, the highest echelons of the Colombo family. Sure, Scarpa was a scumbag who had a wire. Nobody knew that. He was out killing and robbing and doing everything he does. He was a gangster to the fullest. In fact, in some ways, he was a gangster on both sides for the law. He used the law to continue his gangster. Like, he basically was able to use his wire to keep killing and robbing and stealing and do what he did. So in some ways, that's even more gangster. I'm not giving him credit for being a freaking conformant. But then you have a guy like Jimmy, all right? And I don't care what his story is. If it's a lie or it's bullcrap, it's exaggerated or not, I don't care. It's his story, and I would never say, hey, man, you're full of shit, bro. He's like, but I did, not full of shit. Well, was I there? Nope. But somebody said, so you're full of shit. That's what he's doing to Larry. Somebody said, you didn't get made, so you didn't make. Where were you? Well, nowhere. Well, what were you? Well, I was a low-level associate for the Bananas, a wannabe, with a tattoo on my leg because I wanted to be in the mob so bad. Never even freaking knew Larry in the street or Scarpa or any of these guys. And then, so you're saying at that time that's what you were, and when the time Larry came to get made during the Colombo War, that what he's saying didn't happen. You have some proof or evidence of that? Some of the guys you were in prison with, if might know that. Can they go on record and say that? No, nobody's going to go on record and say that. It's all bullshit. Larry tells it how it is, and it is what it is. So if you're going to grab something out of the air, like calling me a wannabe, right? I'm far from a wannabe, man. Between us, I'm the gangster. Trust me. And call me, goofy, whatever. You can call me goofy. I don't care. Flip freaking anyone thinks. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Yeah, I'm goofy. My wife says I'm goofy all the time. I am goofy. I'm a freaking big-ass dork. Trust me when I say I'm a book-writing, fishing, hunting, dorky-ass, goofy-ass nerd. But he wouldn't say that to my face. I promise you that. He wouldn't say. We wouldn't jump in a ring and say, hey, call me goofy again. Tell me about how goofy I am. I'll be happy to do that. I'll show you goofy. You don't want that, I'm not going to go on a tangent and rip him apart like I could about, how he looks or, how smart he is and none of that. because I am the type of guy. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I got people watching me, a lot of people high up. You know what I'm saying? My novels are world-class novels, and they're being looked at by serious people, very serious people. I have television producers, very serious people. I'm not going to say their names because that ain't who. I'm not a name-dropping type. But people who are looking at me and my work and my shows and my content and going, this guy's got potential here to be developed. You know, he's a character. He's interesting. He's funny. He tells a good story. He has a crazy story himself. He has his backstory. I'm not gonna create a big stupid YouTube beef, you know, so I can get extra views. All right, I leave that to people like him. He doesn't have a lot of talent, so this is all he's got. And again, I'm not trying to be mean, Jimmy. I'm just saying this is what you got, man. If this is what you got, use it, man. Make your money. Tell your little stories, you know, get a few thousand views, make a couple $100 a month on YouTube. Boom, you know, you got it going. Listen, I'm a full-time writer, novelist. I have a Patreon, content for the Patreon. I have a radio show. I have Apparel, you know, and I have YouTube, and I'm a writing coach, professional writing coach. All of this stuff. So the little YouTube thing is this one little sliver of money I make, and out of all those things. And if I decided to stop doing it tomorrow, only thing that would happen is I'd have a lot of sad fans. They'd all be like, "Damn, man, I love your channel. I love your content. That sucks." I mean, but it don't mean nothing to me. I'm not going to create a big beef over this and ramble on like I pretty much am. But I just wanted to clear the air about a few things, man. And the main thing I want to clear the air about is, Jimmy, coffee, I'm thirsty. Jimmy, you don't know what the frick Larry did when he did it or how he did it, man. The fact that you're pulling this out of the air, out of your ass 30 years later or whatever it is, just to get ratings or whatever it is you're doing, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous, bro. You weren't there. You weren't even close to there. You weren't even close to there, bro. You was on the other side of town, and they weren't. Your name wasn't even in the frickin' in the conversation, in the realm. So how the frick would you know what Larry was doing with Greg Scarpa and Carmine Persico and Junior Scarpa? Now, how the F you and there's people who believe you, man. That's the crazy part. People are like, "Oh man, Jimmy's the truth. He's telling how it is." I'm like, how the frick would you know what Jimmy's telling? You know, he ain't telling nothing. He's kicking up a bunch of dust so he can get more views on his YouTube channel. It's absurd. Calling in somebody's character into question, that's fine. It's Alite, because I don't know Alite. I don't know nothing about him. And I heard and a lot of people think he's a douchebag and he's freaking an embellisher, whatever. I don't care what people think of him. I will tell you this. What John Alite called me, that man was respectful. He was respectful to me. He treated me like a gentleman. He treated me like with honor. And when I spoke, he listened. And when he talked, I did too. That's all I can tell you about John Alite. That's all I know about John Alite. He called me and he was respectful. And he wanted, you know, Larry wanted him to come on my show to give his, you know, insight or 2 cents of support. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. And look what happened. I get 15,000 views on that video. So it worked. You know, I mean, it got your attention. But don't hold it against me or get angry at me. Watch more of my shows. My shows are like 99% of me just telling crazy stories from, you know, when I was in the streets. Some are gangster, some are mafia, some are crazy, some are, you know, just insane stories. Some are funny. I got a lot of funny stories, you know, like spring break stories. Just funny. That's what I do, man. I tell these funny ass stories from my life because my life has been funny. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride. Most of it's bad, but some of it's good. And anyways, if I can make a good out of a bad, if I can take my old life, crazy ass, dumb stories, knucklehead, thug life stories, and put them on YouTube to entertain some people who get a laugh or a smile or entertain, then that's what I do. That's what I'm going to do. It ain't about the mob, who's out mobbing the next guy, who's the biggest gangster, none of that means shit to me, man. That's a joke. That is for these fanboys. That's for these freaking wannabes. These freaking, you know, oh, mom, they got their idol. They pick an idol. Their idol is the guy from their neighborhood or the guy that they heard of, or they read the most about. They watch the most documentaries about, and that's their guy. And if anyone talks bad about that guy, I get these Instagram guys, man. These strange little Instagram trolls. They'll message me like. So one day I said about Alite. I said, somebody, what do you think about Alite? And I'm like, what's your opinion? They said. I said, I don't know Alite, but I know that some true crime journalist friends of mine, like Scott Bernstein, said that he embellishes. That's all I know. I'm going off them. And I respect these guys. So, I mean, that's all I know. And somebody, like, they ran to him, of course, and told him. But then one of them was like, leave John Alite's name out of your mouth. These kids have, like, they get their hero, and they got their dicks in their mouths, literally. And they're like, leave his name out of your mouth. That's my hero. And I was like, dude, listen, shut the F up, man. Who are you? You're some random Instagram page with zero posts and like 5 followers or whatever. Like, dude, get out of here, bro. This is what I said about Alite, and I mean it. I don't care about Alite. And then they'll come back to me. Now they come back to me and say, oh, now you're friends with Alite. I'm like, beat it. I just block them. I don't have time. You know, and they try to kick up dust. They try to create drama. And that's what's happening. I guarantee you with Jimmy Calandra, there are these Instagram dorks, these losers who just worship everything Mafia because they could never be one, never be in it, never be down with it, never be anything, never be near it. So they watch the movies, they watch the documentaries, they read the books, they watch the shows. It's their lives. And I'm not talking about you, the one listening who just listens for entertainment because this is entertaining. And, you know, you're just like, yeah, I just entertain this stuff. I like stuff. My friend Dr. Nick Sosa, he's a surgeon. He's into this stuff, but he's not a fanboy, all right? I'm talking about these guys who obsess over it to almost jerk off to this stuff. I'm talking to you. Listen, man. Get a freaking life. These freaking guys, they're calling Jimmy or messaging Jimmy, and you know, Jimmy don't seem too bright, so they're all going, oh, this guy Gunner, he's got Larry on there, and Larry's a liar. Larry's full of shit. Larry, he's letting Larry say stuff about you. This guy Gunner, it's Goofy Gunner. You should get him, Jimmy, get him. These are the guys, and Jimmy's like, okay, yeah, Goofy Gunner. Yo, so there's this guy, Goofy Gunner, he wants to be a gangster. Listen, bro, never want to be nothing, dude. I want to be me, that's it. Never want to be, so don't take it personal, Jimmy. You call me Goofy. This is my depiction of you. It is what it is. You don't have to like me. You ain't gonna whoop my ass. You ain't gonna come kill me. So it is what it is. I offered to have you on my show. You're still welcome to come on. You can have a talk with Larry or Alite or anybody else in your show. You're welcome. And in fact, I wish you the best, Jimmy. God bless you. The more stuff, you know, the better you do, and the more awareness you bring to this genre, the more money I make, and it helps me. You know, a lot of people who like these stories buy my books and read them. You know, my books are fiction novels. People are like, oh, that sounds good, man. Jeez, they're calling it the next Godfather in the reviews. Blah, blah, blah. I dig it. I'll buy it. This is so you know, everybody, including Jimmy Calandra. This Mobosphere YouTube fan group of a few thousand people who are obsessed and jerk off with Mafia stuff, that's not my target market. My target market is like middle-aged book-reading nerds who just like a good book. Middle-aged women, housewives, those who buy my books, believe it or not. They just love it. My average reader is probably a 55-year-old woman from like middle America. They just heard it was a great book. They saw on Goodreads or somebody told them, and they're like, yo, I heard it's a good book. Not Mafia fans, because the Mafia obsessors are all obsessed about true crime and real mob guys, which always baffles me because most of the guys they obsess over are rats. They're cooperators. And they just love them. I mean, we know which ones they are. Even the biggest channels. So it's like, all right, let me jerk them off. I'm like, yo, this is a dude who put 170 freaking guys away, and you're worshiping him like he's a god. I mean, that's how you know they don't know nothing about the life. They don't know nothing about that honor. They don't know nothing about the family. They don't know nothing about that. It's all just a YouTube game to them. It's a video game or something. But the rest of you who watch this stuff and think, you know what, it's all entertainment. I'm entertained. I like to hear Gunners tell stories about his life. I like to hear Larry tell stories. I like to hear Jimmy tell stories about his life. I like to hear Sammy tell stories about it. And then that's like 95% of them. And that's like 9% of you guys who just enjoy a story. And that's cool. God bless you. And watch all, listen, watch whatever you want. It's the one that's like 5% who are just obsessors who like literally freaking choke their chicken over this stuff that is, kicking up the dust. They're in Jimmy's ear. You got to tell him this. You got to tell him that. He's saying this and that, blah, blah, blah. So now, but it only helped us all. I mean, because we're all getting a bunch of views and we're, making more money and selling books and it is what it is. So I guess my only final thought on all this is, Jimmy, you don't know nothing about what happened with Larry when he got made. I don't have no other argument with you, Jimmy. You call Alite anything you want. I don't know nothing about him. I do know Larry, though. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him really well. He's a man of honor and integrity. He's not going to bullshit. That ain't his style. When he blew Nicky Black's head off, didn't even blink. That's not bullshit. The guy ain't a bullshit kind of guy. He'd blow your freaking head off. And if you think you can whoop him, let him call him out. Get him in a cage and whoop his ass. I'd like to see that. Other than that, you don't, other than the fact that you can never possibly ever, without a reasonable doubt, state as fact that Larry wasn't made, other than that ludicrous accusation, because it's absurd to think some freaking low-level mafia associate, not even a mafia, so just a thug from the neighborhood who's associated with a guy who runs around going, hey, look, I got a tattoo with Mom, can I be in? You would never know. You're not going to know. A guy like you is never going to know what's really going on in the mafia. So let's make that clear. I mean, you can state whatever you want. You can get mad at me, and you can rebuke it, call me Goofy Gunner. You can call me names, or I'm a wannabe. Please, by all means, have at it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And at this point, I can care less. It's really helping me get views, and I'm helping you get views. Other than that, though, I don't care what you say about any of these freaking guys, because I don't know the facts, and I won't pretend to know the facts. I don't pretend to know mob facts, especially about New York. New York, to me, has always been taboo. And I, like I was saying before, when I was in prison, somebody gave me that book, and I didn't read it. Eventually, I went to a prison. I got wrote out to a prison. I was in 8 different prisons over 13 years. And I got wrote out to a prison, and there was a dude named Anthony Cirillo. They call him Degotone. Very dangerous mafia hitman, killer. He was in prison doing life. Here's a guy. He's the only guy who's ever, only mafia figure who's ever been convicted of murder in Detroit in history. Guy could have flipped in a second. Took down the freaking top. Took down the boss. Took down Tony Jack. Took down all these guys. Nope. Took his hit. He didn't get 30 years. He got life. He's doing life. And he's old Zip, from the old country. That's honor. That's integrity. And the guy took his hit, laid down for the rest of his freaking life. When I would sit in there in prison with him, we'd sit there and talk, for hours in the day room. And he'd help me remember my Sicilian, because I could speak a little Sicilian. And he spoke, more fluent Sicilian. And we told all these stories, shared all these stories, and I wasn't even sure the guy was like the real deal until he started telling me, all these stories, which only could have been known by somebody who's the real deal. Then I realized what a big deal he was. Like, this guy was working for Billy Giacalone. He was a freaking killer. He was a hustler. Anyways, I told him I had that book. He says, go get the book, And so we pull it out, and we start going through this book, and we're reading it and showing me pictures and all this stuff, and I remember thinking to myself, God, this feels wrong to be touching a book that's about, the family, what I'm saying? In my life growing up, to even whisper anything about the family or any information about the family with anybody who wasn't part of your crew or your immediate circle was sacrilegious and could get you killed. And here I am holding a book that's like this picture book with all this information about who's doing what, the murders of what, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know the guy who wrote it. The guy who wrote it was Scott Bernstein. When I got out of prison, I come across this website called Gangster Report. If anyone who wants to know about the Detroit Mafia, or really anything Mafia, go to gangsterreport.com. And so I went there and I saw he had an email. You could email him. So I emailed him and said, hey, this is who I am. And I got this book that's coming out. It's called To Be a King. It's about a fictional Detroit Mafia family. Maybe you could help me promote it or whatever. And he called me right back. He said, yo, I know who you are. Right away I saw you, on Facebook and internet or whatever, and I asked around, started poking around, asking the feds and guys in the street, and they knew who you were, and you're a Toko, blah, blah, blah. I said, cool, would you help me mark my book? He's like, sure. So I wrote these short stories called the Lindbloom Chronicles at National Crime Syndicate, which everybody loved. They got millions of reads, and Scott started carrying them on his website, and they were blowing up. He was getting like 20,000 reads a day at his website. And anyways, the moral of the story is, this now has become a business for me to promote my books, promote my apparel. I own Our Thing Apparel, custom made to your city, state, whatever it is. Everything says custom state, like mine, Detroit, of course. But it's a business, and I'm not here to freaking pretend to be nothing. I'm not here to freaking knock nobody's hustle or put anybody down. One thing I will not do, Jimmy Calandra, is tell you or anybody else something is fact, and if I don't know it's a fact. I'm not going to pull it out of the air and be like, yo, I'm telling you guys, this is the fact. That guy was this. That guy was that. Not when I was nowhere near that world, that time, that crew, that whatever. And that's the only real problem I have. The only thing that I even stated when Larry came on my show and Alite, that's the only thing that I said. Otherwise, I just let them talk. I'm like, because I got nothing against Jimmy, man. Let him tell his story and believe what he wants. It's his, everybody's got an opinion. You know how that goes, and they all stink. But it's his opinion. Let him roll with it. But then I got to thinking, like, how the frick would this dude know anything? Like, who is this dude? And I asked a couple of people, like, who was he? Who is he? Bad to F guy? What is it? Who? I don't even know nothing, And they told me, I'm like, so how is he claiming to know what Scarpa crew was doing, across town or whatever. It's insane. It's impossible. Stop it. It's really insane. Other than that, tell your stories, and tell your little stories about that boys, whatever, about your tattoos and the gangster stuff and the stuff that happened. And it sucks that you were the guys that killed the woman. Blah, blah. I should have killed them. I would have. You know what I'm saying? You killed the woman. I would have put a bullet in them and left them with her. That's just me. Anyway, so that's my tangent, man. Jimmy Calandra, just know, man, I'm trying to be bigger than this, man. You come out and start calling me names, Goofy Gunner, Goofy good, big-eyed Gunner, man. That's the best you got, dude. I mean, I didn't say nothing to you, man. I didn't attack you, didn't call you a liar, didn't say you're a wannabe. I didn't say anything. I'm just gonna tell the facts. You know what I'm saying? This is how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And this is how you. I'm not gonna all these name callings and childish stuff. It's below me. Now I could really go ham and kind of whatever, but I'm not gonna do that because I got people watching, people enjoy, who are looking at me and my content, developing my character. How would I look like an asshole coming out here just going off on some freaking random dude that really I don't even know or care to know, just because he called me goofy. Right? I am goofy. You know what I'm saying? Let's all agree. I can be goofy. I'm proud of that. And I am a book writing nerd. So that's what I am. I like fishing. That's what I'm about to go do. I'm about to go fishing right now. But for now, Jimmy, my advice to you is tell your stories and stuff, and stop picking fights with people, man. Because it's a bad look. I know you got some followers and friends, and they all, yeah, Jimmy, tell them how it is. But I mean, it's a bad look, man. It's a lowbrow move, bro. If your stories are any good, then let them sell. Picking fights and making claims and calling people's names and stuff. It's real childish, and it's below me, and it should be below you. If you're a respectful man of honor. I emailed you, and I even gave you a heads up when Larry was coming on. I said, I'm gonna give him the floor just so you know. And you're like, all right, well, I'll listen. And then of course some Instagram kids were probably in your ear going, oh, let him have it. This Goody Gunner saying this. He's letting this guy, blah, blah. And you bought into it, and then you start calling me names or whatever. So I'm just making it clear, dude. I don't want no part of your weird little freaking Mafia beef with John Alite or Larry Mazza or none of these guys, all right? Larry's my friend. I believe he's honest. That's that. Now, you don't have to believe anything that Larry says or I say, all right? My opinion is just as good as yours. It has no value. So, but I'm not going to sit here and call you names. I'm not going to sit here and freaking, belittle you, whatever, because I don't care. A and B, I'm not a hater. I wish you the best. I hope you win. I hope you get, all your dreams come true. I care less, man. I don't have the hate gene. So even I hate for people who don't like me, I don't have hate for them either, man. I'm going to win one way or another. I'm going to win. I always do. So that's how. The only other option is like you wanted to do a pay-per-view fight or something, I'd be welcome to do that. That would be a good time, for me. Be happy to do it. We can make some loot. I guarantee we can make a couple $100,000. So you want to set that up? We can do that. Other than that, God bless you. And that's another one in the books. My thing tells the form gangster. Just so you know, Jimmy, nothing personal. You made it personal. You're making it personal, and it shouldn't. You should just let it ride, man. Get your money. It's all business. I wouldn't be picking on Larry or anybody else. Just go on your own freaking way. If you don't, you want to come back and attack me and call me some more names and, call me a wannabe or whatever, feel free. You're just going to drive traffic to my page. What's going to happen is a lot of people are going to go, what's this guy Gunner about? And they're going to go there and they're going to watch a bunch of my shows. And they're like, actually, I like this guy. He's likable. He's funny. He's interesting. He's cares. Wow, he's got a crazy story. Sub. And I'm going to end up with thousands of more subs. So you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying I'm not going to be the asshole to instigate it. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be the asshole to instigate it. End of story. I'm not going to do it. So you want to do that, it's fine. I'm not the guy. I like to think I'm better than that. So God bless. It's another episode. If you like the video, make sure you like the video. And make sure you share. Make sure you comment. I know I'm going to get a ton of comments on this. There'll be haters calling me a phony and wannabe. And there'll be some guys going, I worship Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy. And then every guy, my friends be like telling, my supporters be like, F Jimmy. And then everybody's going to, listen, please, my supporters, have respect. The people who are going to support this and me, don't be calling names to him. Don't be going crazy on him. Just be respectful. Be gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be like that. You don't have to lower yourself to that, man. Be a man of honor. Just say, yeah, I support you, Gunner. You know, we love you. You know, love your content. Boom, that's it. You know, you don't have to smash nobody, because that don't prove nothing. It doesn't make anything better. It's just goofy. So don't even waste your energy, man. Go fishing. Go something like that. God bless everybody, man. Make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? If you are, make sure you hit that bell and select all. If you hit all, then you'll know when I publish a video. If you don't, it might decide for you when you win and when you don't. And most times it decides wrong. So just saying. All right, I'm going fishing. I'm about to hit this river and give me some triz out. I'm at. Boom. We in here now.